When you hear role-playing games, you probably picture elves, dwarves, maybe a dragon or two. But honestly, that's just scratching the surface. Today, we're going to go way beyond the dungeon and see just how big this universe of stories really is.
It sounds like a weird setup for a joke, right? But the answer connects all these worlds you've probably never even thought of. They're all incredible adventures you can have in the world of tabletop role-playing games. Let me show you what I mean.
So in one game, you could be part of the All-Star Squadron. Yeah, a whole team of superheroes like the Flash and Green Lantern. And your job? Protecting America from spies and saboteurs during World War II. It's real history, but with a superpowered twist. Or hey, maybe you'd rather jump into a world that feels like it's straight out of your favorite anime. Here, you get to design and pilot your very own giant assault mecha, complete with laser cannons and energy shields. We're talking fast-paced, over-the-top battles.
Okay, let's jump even further ahead. Picture it. The year is 10,500. Humanity's all over the galaxy, and we're all linked up through this giant mental network. Your story could be about finding lost colonies, exploring planets with totally alien life, and basically shaping the future of what it even means to be human.
And you know what? Sometimes the biggest adventures are a little closer to home. You could just be a regular kid riding your bike around town with your friends. All the adults, they seem to ignore the weird stuff that's going on. But you see it, and when someone goes missing, well, it's up to you guys to find out what's really happening.
So the thread connecting all these different stories, from superheroes to small-town kids, is this amazing thing we call a tabletop role-playing game, or a TTRPG. It's basically a framework for a group of friends to build a story together. It's all about collaborative storytelling. The only real limit? Your imagination.
So how does this all actually work? Well, step one is you've got to choose your universe. The world you play in, it sets the tone for everything. You can almost think of the setting as the very first character in your story.
And this is a perfect example of the sheer range we're talking about. On the one hand, you've got this gritty historical setting, but with superheroes. And on the other, you have this super high-concept future where what it means to be human is totally up for grabs. Both are TTRPGs, and they offer completely different kinds of stories.
And it just keeps going. You could be in a world that runs on anime logic, where giant hammers literally appear out of nowhere. Or a world so mechanically deep you could build any power you can think of by mixing and matching hundreds of different pieces. The setting is your playground for sure.
All right, so you've got your world. Now, who are you going to be in it? This is the next big step, where you, the player, really get to make your mark on the story.
Your hero's whole identity is captured on what's called a character sheet. And it's so much more than just a piece of paper. Think of it as the DNA of your character. It defines everything from their secret backstory to just how good they are at talking their way out of trouble. Now, check this out. At first glance, this might look, well, a little intimidating, right? Kind of like a spreadsheet with all these numbers and points. This is one way to build a character.
But here's the cool way to look at it. It's a creative budget. You get a big pool of points, and you get to spend them on the exact skills, powers, and even flaws you want. This lets you build the exact hero you're imagining in your head, piece by piece.
And then, you've got the complete opposite approach. Instead of a budget of points, you start with a concept, an archetype, what this game calls a trope. You're not just a pile of stats, you're the brilliant mathlete. The stats just flow from that idea. You're great with brains, so you get a big D20, but not so great with brawn, so you get a tiny little D4.
So which one's better? Neither. There is no right way. Do you want to spend a few hours crafting the perfect, unique hero from the ground up? Awesome, there's a game for that. Or do you just want to pick a cool idea and jump right into the action? Perfect, there's a game for that too. It's all about the kind of story you and your friends want to tell.
So you've got a world, and you've got a hero. But how do you actually, play? What happens when you try to do something cool and you don't know if you'll succeed? That's where the rules, the engine of the game, come in.
It really just boils down to this simple loop, this back-and-forth conversation. The game master, or GM, sets the scene. A player says, okay, my character does this. You roll some dice to see what happens, and then, and this is the best part, everyone chimes in to describe what that outcome looks like.
And that whole rolling dice part, that's where things get really fun, because every game speaks a different language of dice. Some use that classic 20-sided die, the D20. Others have you roll 2 6-sided dice and add them up, which gives you a totally different feel. And some even use these custom dice that can give you pluses, minuses, or just blanks. each system is built to create a different kind of drama.
But here's the most important thing to get. It is not just about winning or losing. In a lot of modern games, the dice create story. A bad roll isn't just a miss. It can mean a complication. A staggering and catastrophic failure isn't the end of the story. It's an awesome, unexpected plot twist that makes things way more interesting for everybody.
All right, we've talked about the worlds, the heroes, the rules, the what, and the how. But why? Why do people love this stuff so much? What's the real point of sitting around a table and making up stories together?
I think this quote from Kids on Bikes just says it all, really. This isn't about one person winning. It's not a competition. It's a team sport. The goal isn't to beat the other players. The goal is for everyone to tell an amazing story together.
Because when you strip away all the rules and the character sheets, this is what you're left with. It's about building something creative together. It's about solving problems that you absolutely could not solve on your own. It's about getting to see a wild new world through someone else's eyes. And it's all about those amazing, unexpected moments when the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming.
So yeah, from fighting spies in the 1940s to piloting giant mechs thousands of years from now, the possibilities are, well, they're infinite. Which really just leaves one last question for you. If you could tell any story, in any world, with any hero, what would it be?